Hey guys, I'm here today with all of my Holy Grail products, meaning the products that I know I can count on every single time, and in all honesty, those products that I always compare other new items to. So whenever I'm trying a new item, I'm like, oh, but is this as good as X, the one that I know that I love? So sit down, grab a snack. It's probably going to be a lengthy video. More likely than not, I'm probably going to separate this into 2 or maybe even 3 videos. I have everything from primer all the way to setting spray. So anything all the way through the makeup process. Please hit like if you enjoy videos like this, and let's get going. So before we get going into our products, I thought I'd just share a little background on myself and some of my own preferences and my skin type. I am 37, almost 38, and I consider myself to have fairly normal skin. In the summertime, I may get a little bit oily towards the end of the day, and in the winter, I tend to get a bit dry. But overall, I have a pretty normal skin type. And I also find that as far as coverage preferences, I tend to like something that's more natural, so like a light to medium coverage. If you really love full coverage as far as your foundation goes, these products won't be for you. I tend to like a fairly light coverage on my skin. So I just wanted to share a few of those things with you. If you guys would like to see something with more medium to full coverage, let me know and I will make sure to do that in the future for you. It's just not a preference that I have, but I can certainly recommend some great products for you. So let's get going. If you guys don't know me yet, I really do prefer a dewy, luminous finish, and that's very evident in the primers that I've chosen for today because all 3 of them have a luminous finish. Let's start with this guy. This is the Hello Fab Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. Have you guys found that like products nowadays have like longer and longer names? Anyway, this says it's safe for sensitive skin, which I would agree with, and it does have a bit of a luminous finish. It's a natural luminosity though. It's not going to give you like that Tin Man look, so you don't really have to worry about looking overly glowy. And I find that I love this primer all year round, but I tend to use it more in the fall and winter time just because it is quite hydrating, because it is a moisturizer as well, and it gives some nice natural luminosity. Next up is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. This is a great one when you're looking for that glowy dew, but you don't need something that's quite as hydrating. So this is probably one that I would reach for more in the spring and summertime because I'd use a lightweight moisturizer and then put this on top. And as you guys will see, I did use some of these products to get ready today, and this is the one that I chose to use today. In all honesty, I tend to just put it on with my hands. It's really easy to work with, and this is something that also is great to use when you're just looking for something to make your skin look more fresh when you're not going to be wearing any makeup, and this is really a favorite of mine. And if you guys watched my recent Ulta haul, I know this is new to me, but I'm already so in love with it. I think it can go into my holy grails. This is the Smashbox Photo Finish Crystallized Primerizer. So I've tried the regular primerizer, which is a moisturizer in combination with a primer, and this crystallized version just has more glow to it. So the difference between this and the other 2 primers is this really has more of, in all honesty, almost like a rose gold finish to it. So I feel like it warms up the skin a little bit more, and that's great when you're looking to add a little bit of summer glow to your skin. So this is one, again, that I will use in the spring and summer. Not that it necessarily makes you look more tan, but it definitely gives you a deeper glow, and I really think it's beautiful. So now we're going to get into our base products, and this first product I'm going to share with you is one that I have been through tubes and tubes of. I have several shades for every season, and it's one that I just can't live without. This is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Tinted Moisturizer. So this has really been what I use, honestly, like 80% of the time for the last, 5 years at least. Things that I love about this is it has a broad spectrum SPF 30, which is great when you're looking for that extra dose of sun protection. I love that it's a mineral product, meaning that it's going to be great for sensitive skin types. And this really has, I would say, a light to medium coverage. So I actually don't mind that at all because I tend to like something that looks a little bit more skin-like, and then I just add concealer where I need a bit more coverage. So in the summertime, I'm wearing Ginger, which is 0.6, and in the wintertime, I'm wearing Bamboo, which is 5.5. So this is really great. It is moisturizing, but not really heavy, and I have honestly just been in love with this one forever. So So this next product, I wouldn't say is necessarily replacing the tinted moisturizer, but it's becoming a strong contender for tied for first place. This is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Hydrating Foundation Stick. So obviously, we're still in the same Bare Minerals family. I find that this stick has a bit more coverage and it's a little less moisturizing. So this is one that I've been using this summer when I'm looking for something that has a bit less moisture to it, but also when I just want a little bit more coverage. I would say that this has more of a satin skin-like finish, whereas the Complexion Rescue Tinted Moisturizer has a bit more glow to it just because it is obviously a moisturizer. And I have the same two shades in this. I have Bamboo and I have Ginger. I've recently been wearing Bamboo on the middle of my face and then throwing Ginger on the outside when I blend it in. And I tend to just use a more densely packed brush for this. This is something that I also love because it's so travel friendly. So this is another great one. You guys are going to find that I say I love it, it's beautiful, like all of these repetitive words, but this is my Holy Grail video after all. Okay, so last for our base makeup is one that unfortunately I haven't been able to utilize yet this summer because I am just not tan enough. This is one of these summers that I have a feeling my summer shade really isn't going to be that far away from my winter and spring shade. But this is the MAC Face and Body, and I love this foundation because it really is very lightweight and has a great skin-like finish to it, and it's also buildable. So this is a product that unfortunately I haven't been able to use in a while because the shade that I have is far too dark. I bought it after coming back from a vacation, and so now I usually just use it in the summer, but this summer I haven't gotten tan enough to be able to use it yet. But this is the MAC Face and Body. This foundation is quite a bit more liquidy and it still really gives some good coverage. It's very buildable, so I find that you can do anything from lightweight coverage up until medium buildable. And you can even mix a few drops of this in with your moisturizer if you're going for more of like a tinted moisturizer situation. I love this. It's lightweight. I really enjoy products that you don't feel on your skin because that like feeling of wanting to like scrape your face, like anything that's super thick, or I can feel it like just getting kind of melty throughout the day. I don't like that, which is usually why I stick with something that's a little bit more lightweight. And MAC Face and Body, there's a reason why it's a cult favorite. It's a classic, and it's something that hopefully by the end of summer I'll be able to wear a little bit. So concealer is one of those products. I do have a couple that I really love, but I'm always searching for a new favorite. Like I'm always looking for that next holy grail because it's something that I use a lot because I do just wear a light to medium coverage base product. I want a concealer that has a little bit more coverage for the areas that I need. I do have some dark under eye circles and some veining and pigmentation on my eyelids that I like to cover. And obviously anytime I have blemishes, I want to be able to get a little bit more coverage there too. The one thing that I don't want is something that is cakey and drying. I've had some different favorites over the years and I sort of have recycled some of those. Really, as far as a medium to full coverage, I've really been enjoying the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. So this is the multi-use sculpting concealer and I use the shade Almond. The one that I was using before this was the Tarte Shape Tape, and Shape Tape is obviously a cult favorite for a lot of people. I do still use it on occasion. Probably more in the summer I would be able to use it again, but I do find that it tends to be a little drying, and when I'm looking to use something underneath my eyes, I don't want something that's going to make me look dehydrated and add a wrinkly texture. I already do have some fine lines, and so I'm looking to have something that's a bit more emollient. And this concealer still has a great amount of coverage, but it's a little less drying. Another one that I love for those days that I'm going for a little bit more of a natural feel, so something that really has more of a light to medium coverage, something that I can use to just make me look a little bit more freshened up, is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. The great thing about this concealer is it comes in a ton of shades and it really does have a little bit more hydration to it. So it's a little more even than the Born This Way, but it's not so hydrating that it's going to get super creasy. So this is really great for fall and winter when your skin's a little bit more dry, or if you're just looking for a more soft coverage. Now, one thing that I always recommend when you are shopping drugstore versus high-end is checking the price per ounce, because you'll find a lot of the times, like these two products for instance, you're looking at something that is like 20 some dollars. I think it's like $23 or $26, and something that's around $7, which makes it seem like this is a crazy good deal. But just keep in mind that there is 2 times as much product in this. Now, this is still more expensive per ounce, but I have found a couple drugstore products that you actually get equal or better prices on the high end versus the drugstore when you consider the amount that's actually in the bottle. So that's always something that I like to keep in mind, especially some of those products that seem like they're such a great deal, like a lipstick or like a lip pencil. There's actually not much product in that packaging, so it can be really deceiving sometimes. But that's just a little tip from me to you in saving on your beauty items. So let's talk powders. Now, in all honesty, powder is not something that I use a ton of, because I do like more of a glowy look, something that keeps a more luminous finish and is a little bit more youthful. So I am definitely not someone who does any baking. I don't wear a ton of powders, but I do have a few that I find keep me looking fresh and will set my makeup for hot weather or when I'm having really long days. My all-time favorite is the Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder. You guys will find, just a little spoiler, I do have quite a few Hourglass products in today. They are pricey, but I find that for powder products, they truly do make some of the best. And something like this is something that I use so little of that for me, it's worth spending that bit of extra money to get a great end result. And this powder is very finely milled, and I find that it does not lay really heavy or sink into fine lines and give me more texture or make my skin look more aged. If you're looking for a great loose setting powder, I would really suggest checking this out. Now, before the Hourglass Veil powder came out, what I was using to set my makeup 99% of the time was the Hourglass Ambient Lighting powders. So these powders have a bit of a luminosity to them. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but they do have a bit of a sheen, and these really are meant to be more like finishing powders. So something you would dust over or buff over your completed makeup look to give it a more seamless look. So this is Dim Light, and this is the one that I wear when I'm a little bit more fair. And then I also have Radiant Light, which definitely has more of a warmth to it. And I really love these ambient lighting powders. They do give a beautiful glow to your skin. I do have some scarring from acne and a little bit of enlarged pores right around my inner cheeks, but I would rather trade off and have glowy, healthy looking skin. But if you want something that does hide imperfections a little bit more, I would tend to go towards something that's more matte. One more product, and that is going to be the RCMA No Color Powder. This is incredibly inexpensive. For the quality, it's amazing. It's a very finely milled powder, and RCMA has been known and loved by makeup artists for a really long time. And I truly think that this is a great powder when you're going to be setting the face, setting the under eye, as long as you don't have too deep of a skin tone. If you're very, very dark, the No Color Powder will be a little bit chalky on your skin. And I think that they do have colored shades, or even maybe like a banana shade, that would give you a little bit less of that white cast. For most people's skin types, this is going to be great. The only thing I don't love about this product is the packaging. This has basically just a really simple shaker top on it, and it's a little bit hard because I tend to just shake it up like this and then try to use what's in the cap. It works pretty well for me, but it can get a little bit messy when you need a little bit more powder. What I should probably just do is invest in another package that I could put this in that would work a little bit more easily. But for the price, this guy is amazing. I recommend checking it out, and I recommend checking this out if you're looking for a more cost-effective setting powder. I get this from Beautylish. Okay, let's talk bronzer. So bronzer is something that I tend to use year-round, whether I'm using it for a contour or I'm looking to warm up the face and get a bit more of a tan look, especially this year because I just haven't gotten outside much, so I'm needing a little bit more of a sunny vibe. So I'm going to start with the one that I've been using and loving for the longest, and that is Bahama Mama from The Balm. You guys can see this is very well loved. I mean, I have super hit pan on this guy, and he's looking a little dingy, but I do have one on backup that's a little bit more pretty, but I love the satisfaction of using up a product completely, so I'm trying to get there with this guy. So this has really intense pigmentation and a little bit more of a neutral to cool tone to it. So I tend to use this to contour my face, which is what I did today. I used it more as my contour than my bronzer. Or when I'm looking for a rich deepness, this is another great one to use. And that's one thing to keep in mind. A contour, when you're creating more shape to your face, a contour is truly a shadow. So it shouldn't have any warmth to it. You want to use something that is neutral to cool on your skin, and that's going to give you a more natural contoured effect. Now, my next favorite is known and loved here in the beauty community, and it's the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. So this is a fave of a lot of people, and there's a reason why. It really, for a drugstore bronzer, has a very finely milled powder, and I love the finish that it has. It's almost more of like a satin finish, so it doesn't look powdery on the skin. It really blends in and gives you a very skin-like finish. This is the regular bronzer shade. I know that they have come out with a few other shades. They have a light one, which would have to be for really fair skin. And then they also have a couple deeper ones. I'd like to try out one of the deeper shades to be able to use in the summertime, because just this bronzer shade is a little bit light for me if I do happen to be lucky enough to get a true tan in the summer. But probably this year I'll be okay with this. And last but not least is another Hourglass product. So this is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer, and I have the shade Diffused Bronze Light. One thing that I love about this is it has almost more of a reddish undertone to it. So it gives you more of that summer flush that gives that, I would say, more of a natural, true sun-kissed look to it. Because, you know, if you think about, like, if you've gotten just a little bit too much sun, you tend to look slightly red, but this isn't going to give you a super red skin tone. I did use it today, and then again used that Bahama Mama to contour with. So you guys can see it just gives a more natural finish, and it's not orange by any means, but it just has a beautiful natural warmth to it. Now, these marbleized Hourglass products, they really don't, they're hard to swatch well because, as you can see, they are mixed with some of the ambient lighting powder and then also a bronzer shade. So you really want to be able to swirl your brush in the pan and apply it to get the true effect. Otherwise, you might just be hitting an area that has more of the ambient lighting powder. So if you do go into Sephora to try these out, it's a little bit hard to get a great swatch from, just a little heads up. But they do have several shades with a blend of some of the different ambient lighting powders depending on what tone you're going for. Okay, so let's talk blush. Now, blush is something that when I was younger, I just totally didn't get. I never would have worn it. But now as I get older, it's something that I love to wear every day to give my skin a more awake, flushed, alive appearance. And I have to say, if I had to pick one between blush, bronzer, and highlight, I would probably pick blush, especially since I could pick a glowy blush, which kind of gives you both a blush and a highlight. So maybe that's cheating, but that's one thing that I've definitely found as I get older that I want on my skin is a little bit of color. And one of the products that started it all was the Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso, another cult classic, and there really is good reason for that. This shade has such a beautiful sheen to it, and it just gives a perfect peachy shift to the skin. So I find that for me, I can use this in the winter and spring to create a little bit of glow on the skin. In the summertime, if I do get a little bit more tan, this is almost going to look more like a highlight or like a blush topper because it is a fairly light shade. But I really do love this one. Milani Baked Blushes, they have many different shades and they're all very beautiful. Another blush that I love to go to is the Becca Mineral Blush, and this shade is Songbird, which is a really great, more warm neutral, and it's what I put on today. And I find that this shade really is something that I can throw on in a hurry to just add a little bit of natural flush to my cheeks. And it has a more satin finish, so it's not necessarily glowy, but it does give a beautiful skin-like finish. And I also really like the more luminous blushes from Becca. The Tiger Lily shade is a beautiful, like summery, like corally orange, and that one is great as well. But these just have a great finely milled powder to them. Becca powder products are some of my favorite, and the Songbird shade is really pretty. So I'm sure you won't be surprised, but my last blush favorite is again another Hourglass powder, and these are the Ambient Lighting blushes. This is Dim Infusion, and I got this shade because of Samantha here on YouTube, because she was talking about loving it, and her skin just always looks so pretty. And so I wanted to try this out. I love that the ambient blushes really are something that are so user friendly, and that's because that ambient lighting powder that's in there helps soften the tint that's in the product, so it's a little bit hard to apply too much. And that's something that I can get a little bit heavy-handed with sometimes, is blush, and these really create a very user-friendly experience. One thing that I have to mention are the Hourglass Lighting Edit palettes that come out around the holidays, I believe. So these usually have 6 pans in them and a mix of the Hourglass highlighters, the Hourglass bronzer, the ambient lighting finish powders, and then the beautiful blushes as well. So this is a great way if you're looking to try out some of the Hourglass products and you haven't yet. I'll be honest, ounce for ounce, these are much more expensive than buying the bigger products. But if you're just wanting a little bit of everything, this is a great way to go. Who's ready for highlight? This is something that I always get very excited on because there's nothing like a beautiful glowy cheekbone. And right away, one product stood out to me. Automatically, I knew I was going to include it in this video, and that is the Makeup Geek highlighter in Daybreak. And this is, as you'll see here, truly loved. This product is great because you can use it with a more fluffy brush for a very soft look. This is actually what I used in my Fresh in 15 video, I believe, which I will link below. And you can also pack it on for a blinding bright highlight. So this is a great one because it has more of a peachy undertone. So it's really right in the middle. Sometimes a champagne-y or almost like silvery tone can be too like cool toned or like light on my cheek, and then a really true gold can be almost too dark. So this hits perfectly in the middle. I can use it year round and I really enjoy it. Now my next highlighter is a powder product that a lot of us know and love, and that's the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfectors. This is the shade Vanilla Quartz, which is a newer shade to me. We all know about Champagne Pop, about Opal. Those are ones that have been wildly popular here in the beauty community, but this has really become a favorite of mine because I find that the shade is really unique. This has a more champagne to golden feel to it, but it has a peachy shift to it. So on the skin, you get a little bit of something different. It's the highlighter that I have on today, and I find that it works with a variety of looks, a variety of blushes, and this is a little mini that I got in the holiday pack, and that's something that I always recommend. If there's a product that you're wanting to try, see if you can get minis around the holidays especially. A lot of brands come out with multi-packs so you can try a few different colors and find one that you love. I did love this so much that I did pick up the full size, but let's be honest, when was the last time that you went through an entire full-size highlighter? The minis are a great way to be able to try something before you know if you'll love it or not. And last but not least is a product that I've had for so long that I still have the original packaging. This is the Ofra highlighter in Rodeo Drive. And what I love about the Ofra highlighters is they really do give you that kind of like wet sheen to the skin. But this Rodeo Drive is perfect for me because it has a golden tone to it, no doubt about it, but it's not so intensely gold that it looks too deep on my skin. And like I said, sometimes those gold shades can get a little deep and then it almost looks recessive on the skin. It almost like sinks in your cheekbone rather than like pop it out. And this one, again, is one of those that can be applied lightly for a more natural finish, but you can certainly pack it on if you're going for that intense golden look. So I'm going to skip forward to our last category for this video because I really consider it more of skin, and that is setting sprays. So setting spray for me is one of those products that I use every day I put on makeup, because for me, it's not just about making the makeup last, but it's about giving it a more skin-like quality. And that's something that I find when you're using any powder products, you want something that's going to set that powder down and almost melt it more into your skin. So I really enjoy the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. It really is for me more about the application of this product. It is an aerosol, and that really creates a beautiful lightweight mist on the skin. I do find that this is a little bit, if you have hair that tends to get a little more frizzy if it gets damp at all, this is one you might want to avoid because the stream, while it's light, it's a little bit more expansive, so it goes a little bit further out. I used it to Did I use this one today? I'm pretty sure I used this one today. And when I use this one, my hair gets almost a little bit damp. So usually I will tie my hair back, put it in a headband, try to block it from hitting my hair. And I also find that this, once it gets towards the end of the can, the spray can get a little bit erratic. So those are a few cons to it, but it really does give the skin a beautiful natural finish that I really enjoy. So the next spray is something that's fairly new to me, but I really do enjoy it, and that is the Tarte Stay Spray. This setting spray is great because I love the scent of it. It has a very fine mist, and I would say that this is pretty similar to the Urban Decay All Nighter Spray, which is what I would have considered a Holy Grail product in the past. But this is, I believe, $24 or $26, and the Urban Decay is $33. So you're gonna save some money on this. They have the same amount of ounces in the product, but you're gonna get some more bang for your buck with this one. And I really do enjoy it. I find that Tarte does have some great skin products, and this is definitely one that I love. So that's going to be it for part 1 of my Holy Grail video. I hope you guys have enjoyed learning a few of my favorite products. Let me know down below if any of the products that I've listed today are your favorites, or if there's something that you're really interested in trying out. Thanks for hanging out with me again today, guys, and I'll see you really soon.